Seats in front row. Or the second row. That's rough.
Back seat, thinking.
Yeah. So then they brought me a new water. They.
Yeah, it is live now. Just because we were having a little issue, so I just decided to get it for right now.
Living the dream?
Yeah, that's when Adrian did that master round.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I mean, unless there's stuff you want to say first, or Rick or Tom want to say, I'm good to just go. So I can hold
I sold it 4 years.
Wow, there's a lot out there.
Yeah. I do too.
2 minutes.
Why the rest of us don't have masks.
2 minutes and we'll get going.
We got a mask,
Muskegon
right?
stuff.
Or was it special?
But I did. Been there for 2 months.
I decided to find if I had a box of them. Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I stopped.
Keep looking at those, I'm not sure those are fat boy baskets, I almost sit in the big screen.
Yes.
That's so cute.
I have them out because they're like my kids.
This one is adorable.
He's the newest one. He's the troublemaker in the bunch.
He looks like he's got shrimp eyes.
Yeah, he does. I like Bert. Well, good afternoon.
Hello. All right. Mute everything. All right, if everyone wants to find a seat, we'll start in about 60 seconds here. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. No one likes the sound of my own voice more than me. Get out there, right? Oh, you want me to use this?
Yeah, it's on. Okay. Yeah.
Does it pick up normal sound anyways? 'Cause I probably won't use that unless you really want me to.
I'll just angle it out this way. If you're going to be walking, it'll pick up a little bit better. But this microphone.
So it'll pick me up back here, but also if I'm pointing at the screen. probably what I'm gonna be doing. Alright, right here. Great. 201. Welcome. I'm Matt Mansfield. If you came to the meeting this morning, you probably saw my big face on the screen. Face made for radio. So I'll skip the casual introductions. I told you a little bit about myself. I've got my coffee up here because can't go through a training without that. What we're going to do today is to, an hour. Zap is much more in depth than an hour. I can't do a training really in an hour. And you don't have access to the system just yet. So I'm going to give you an overview of all the things it can do so that next week when they come on, you'll be familiar to get scaled up and start using it, okay? Totally casual. If you have a question, just ask it. If you need to get up and get water, go to the restroom, just do it. And we'll just go through from there. Everybody good with that format?
I can see it.
All right.
And
Matt, you're gonna talk to you on just in case.
I will. Okay. For those of you who weren't at the meeting, my name is Matt Mansfield. I'm the Chief Sales Officer at ERA Reardon Realty, your new sister company. We are all in southern Michigan, Kalamazoo, Jackson, Ann Arbor, and Farmington Hills. A little bit in Lansing. That's where I live, East Lansing, so it's an easy trip over for me. Just to give you some background on Zap. You probably heard it's called Zap. It was owned by Zap Labs. Zap Labs developed it. Zip Realty was the first company to use it. They were a standalone real estate company that Realogy purchased for about $200 million to get this platform to scale up and use for all of the Realogy companies. If you don't know what all the Realogy companies are, it's Coldwell Bankers, MP21, ERA, Sotheby's, and on down the line. So, and some emerging brands. So, this came out several years ago. We were the 5th company to adopt this. So, it was what, 3 years ago? Almost? 2.5, 3 years ago?
I was gonna say 5, but time flies.
Yeah, so at that point, there was some pain. The number 5 company to roll this out. We took a lot of that and helped ERA and helped Realogy and Zip Realty, scale it up. Well, we're 3 years into it now. They've gotten through all the bugs, it works great. And so what they've been doing recently, they gave ERA the very first shot at this program. Now they've released it systematically since Century 21 and Coldwell Banker, much bigger companies, in order to add in that scale, right? So that's the history of where Zap has come from and where it's going. Now the really good news is that they have something like 25 or 30 programmers. All they do is work on this all day long. So there's updates very regularly. You might see an update you didn't even know was going to change. It's coming out. Stuff's coming out. They have an entire roadmap a year ahead of time of what they're going to add into the system. And for those of you who might go to the Fuel, the convention in Nashville, they'll probably show you some of that roadmap of what's to come the rest of the year as far as that goes. That's very cloud level. When you take it down to your level, the agent level or company level, it has 3 main components. So it has a website, it has a mobile app, and it has a CRM. 3 very different, distinct elements that I'll explain. So those are the 3 layers of Zap. The first one I'm going to go through is the website portion, right? Now, I would say in our company, we probably have about 90% of our agents use the Zap website. Why? Because it's good enough. I mean, it's very heavy on search. It's very focused on search. It tracks activities. You can do safe searches. It helps you with a lot of Google ranking stuff. It's built to be Google friendly. That's the big claim to fame of it, right? So for most people, it's great. Websites aren't the lead thing anymore. To have a website is great. The mobile app is where it's at. That's what you really want to focus on. And I'll spend a little bit more time talking about that. But let's talk about the website first. So every person has an agent website. Now that's whether you use it or not. So if you have a website that's you know, you're paying for that's super, super top of the line and you don't opt to use that, that's okay. For most people, this is gonna be great because it covers some very key elements. So as you can see, this is an actual agent here. Brittany, she's in our Jackson office. I'll try not to block anybody out here, but as you can see, the main thing is search. That's what people go there for. They're not there to read about the fact that, you know, you have cats and you like long walks on the beach and all that stuff. We like to think that, you know, but they're here for this thing. They're here for search. And that's what it delivers best over anything else, is search. The data for Grand Rapids is already here because there's other Realogy companies in the area. So the data is already there. If I go here just to our website and hit search for Grand Rapids, I get all the results. The data is, everything's already built. So there's no problem with that. The really great thing about the site, and also the app, which work really hand in hand, is that they track everything that your people do, right? Why do we want to know that? Why do we want to know what your clients are doing, looking at, saving, favoriting, all that stuff?
Buyers are liars.
Right path, wrong phrasing, I'll give you that. The average buyer, we don't know who they are. The average lead, we don't necessarily know who they are. They don't have a face, they're not a real person, they might have an email, they might call themselves Mickey Mouse when they sign up because they're not ready to talk to you yet, right? I mean, that is the truth. We want to talk to them. We want to pick up the phone, call them immediately, and tell them, you know, if they, oh, you want to go see a house this weekend? But the average buy time is up 12 to 18 months now that people are out searching before they're ready to buy. And a good portion of that, they're not ready to talk to you yet. And if you do, it's better be pretty engaging. So this system addresses that issue specifically. How do we take buyers and all these bad leads that we get, but we don't have the patience to stay with for 12 to 18 months and still be in front of their face when they decide to do something? Yes?
So you track them by their mobile phones, is that it?
Well, when they, that's a great question, thank you for asking that. When they, and that's specifically where the app is so great. So if you send out your mobile app, right? And I'm your friend and I'm looking, I'm not ready to buy yet, but you send me your mobile app and I'm searching around and I sign in. I can sign in with Facebook or Google right on my phone. Once you're in, I can see everything you do. And I can see what areas you're searching in, what homes you're liking, favoriting, your saved searches, what price range, what school district. I mean, there's so much data, and I'll show you the data. I'll show you some actual examples of that. Because that way I can pick up the phone instead of just sending out a drip email. I can send them a text if I have their number, or an email that says, hey, you know, I see you're searching over in Kenwood schools. I happen to specialize in that area. I've got some time open this weekend. If you want to see any houses, text me. You know, you can be much more consultative in your contacts than just, hey, are you ready to buy and sell, which is what we have been doing for years. I know, I've been helping agents for 14 years, and I've seen the market change quite a bit. When I started, we had the book, you know. Someone calls in, you look in the book. Always updating the book. You know, we don't do that anymore. As a matter of fact, you know, I think the Art Van style of selling in real estate has gone out the window. People want us to be an authority, a consultative entity, a teacher, a supporter as they go on their journey of figuring out how to buy a house, what they want. You know, people are searching and going to open houses and finding exactly what they want before they're ready really to talk to us on a personal level because they're scared. They're scared to commit, they're not sure who you are, they don't want to make a mistake, and they don't want a high pressure sell.
And how do they, what's the best way to get them to get the app?
Well, that's a great question. The best way, so each of you, and I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm totally okay with that because I want to go where the group wants to go here. Each one of you is going to have a direct link that goes to your version of the app in either the App Store or the iTunes Store, right? An individual link. So what my agents do is if you're on iPhone, you can create a text shortcut where you just type app in a text message and it goes out into the long URL string. Or if you're on Android, I compose a text message with the URL in it and lock it so that when I run into Janine at the coffee shop and we're face to face and I'm looking at her and she feels social pressure to interact with me, we're talking, oh, we're thinking about looking for a house. Great. I'm going to text you a link to download my app right now. It's GPS based. It'll show you everything that's for sale wherever you are. She's going to download that when I send it through because I'm looking her in the eye. I mean, if you'll download Angry Birds 7 or whatever it is, you'll download my app when we're talking face to face and I say, I've got this awesome app. And the app is awesome. I think probably I'll come back to the website a wee bit, but I'm going to jump into the app a little bit because I think that's where we're going. The mobile app is truly where it's at because everyone is out. We have to fight against Zillow. I mean, that's just the truth of it. If you send someone to your website, go to mattmansfieldsells.houses.com, and they might do that. And our data, our internal data will say this. Most people that we send a link to our website go 1 to 2 times, and we never see them again. Why? Anyone want to answer that?
Because they can get anything.
Because they can go to Zillow. That's true. But why do they go to Zillow? That's the important question to answer.
No commitments.
Because at work or when we send it, they might be on this thing. But at home, they're on this thing. They're not sitting on their desktop or their laptop on the couch while they're watching football. They're on this thing. They need an app. They're not going to go to your mobile website, most likely. So where we lose people is we send them to our beautiful website, and then they need an app, so they download Zillow, and they're gone. So the key is to get the mobile app link out right away. First touch. Hey, I can save you some time. Because the mobile app, has anyone used it? The consumer mobile app. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like in the App Store because I want you to download it. It's actually completely, I'm going to say ripped off. I'm sure that's not legitimate, but has anyone seen the Realtor.com commercials with Elizabeth Banks and that whole thing where you can draw your finger around? It's exactly modeled after that. App. I use it personally all the time.
I think Realtor stole it from us.
That could be.
That's what I put it with.
But I'm going to say that because they put a lot of money into hiring Elizabeth Banks to promote it for 3 years. But it looks almost exactly the same. It acts almost exactly the same. So if I'm standing here right now, today, and I hit the ERA app, I'm going to see every property geographically around me. It knows where I am. So if I'm a client and I'm driving around on the weekend and I've got that app open, no matter where I am in town, it's showing me what's for sale right there. They don't have to run a search necessarily. When they open it up, it's just going to show what's there. They can click on it. They can get detail. They can save a search. Now if they save a search, your website is going to send them results every day. Why is that a benefit? Instead of sending them from the MLS.
Because your face is in there. It brands you.
It brands you. Where every point they're going to you. Every time they search. When they get a result they like in their inbox, it takes them back live into your website. So when they look at it, you can tell they did, right? They can take their finger and draw around a neighborhood, and it'll just send results from that neighborhood. You know, I mean, it's a great app. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And you know, I'll show you what it looks like here, because I do want you all to download it.
So it's just called the ERA Real Estate?
It is called, yes, ERA Real Estate. It's produced by Zap Labs. This is what it looks like in the Google Play Store. And if you're one of those iPhone folks, it looks like this.
So a normal person.
For those, you'll learn about me. I am not an iPhoner. I am an Android all the way type of dude because I like customization, I like widgets, and you'll never make me do it. The mothership will not get me.
YouTube will be simply just.
Yeah, totally fine. Thank you. I'm not moving as much as I thought I would. So as you can see, and this is, I'm going to address something straight out of the gate that I know has been brought up, is that if you look at this, Zap Labs, okay, 4.7 stars. It's got a lot of ratings. Why? It's a great app. If you look at the agent version of this, the Zap CRM for agents, it has a much lower rating. Why would that be? I can tell you exactly why that would be. Because when you roll out an app to 50,000 Coldwell Banker agents at one time, you get a lot of misinformation, a lot of people that don't know how to use it. The broker may or may not have trained anything on it. I will tell you it's a good app. And I'll show you the app, when we get to the actual training. But for now, I would love for you to download the ERA Real Estate app and just try it. It's what your clients will be seeing.
We just
Don't.
Sorry.
Oh, a question?
We just got a question from online.
Question
They're
from the
asking,
audience.
What happens if they download the direct link from the App Store and not your link that you send them? Does that make a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Because your direct link goes to you when they go to the App Store and they download it. That link says they're your client. If they just went out there and found it, it would send it through Lead Router, which you guys probably haven't seen yet, to whatever agent. So a non-client, that just comes through. Maybe they're just searching. They're not your client. Nobody knows who they are, and they download it. It would put it through a routing to whatever agent services that area, and that's something you guys will have to work
So when you
on.
send it to them, let me just reiterate, when you send it to them, they download it, it's attached to you.
Yes.
Because you
Mhm.
sent it to them.
Yep. Yes, and the very important thing, and I'll stress this the entire way, is they need to sign up for an account. Now, I don't want you to sign up for an account yet. Well, you can, but you're probably you might get a call from a Coldwell Banker or Century 21 agent in the area that wants to know if you're ready to buy. Because again, if you sign in, it will assign you to an agent, which is one of the wonderful things about it. But the app is great. Within our agent population, the stick rate of a person we send to our website it's low. I mean, sub 20% possibly. The abandonment rate is high of people that look at one house, save one house, and then boom, they're gone. If we get them the app early, the stick rate is very high, somewhere above 70%. Because they don't need another app. They don't need two apps. They don't even need Zillow. If they've got your app early in the game, it's every bit as good as Zillow, except it's better at weeding out what's already sold, which is also a really nice feature. So, question.
The thing I'm noticing is it's not picking up for sale by owner. Is that so? It's just on MLS.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. It's the same properties that show up on the Midwest website. Yep.
Is ERA taking advantage of the VOW rules, or is it straight IDX? I mean, is it a virtual office website feed?
It is straight IDX as far as I know. Probably that might be above my pay grade. I don't know. But I know I filled out all of our RETS agreements and things with, for IDX with all the other boards of realtors. So
It just allows the new ruling allows you to add additional on your own feeds. So you pull IDX, but you can also put additional information in there. It's something to say we're better, different than Zillow, Trillia, the others, and only MLS members can do that. So I just wondered if they were implementing that yet.
I'll take that as a question and let you know for sure. For sure. I don't know the answer. Yes.
I see, I'm just on the app, right? I just
Sure.
download it, just looking at a property, all the way at the bottom, home value estimates from Zillow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, if we didn't have home value, we'd be, everybody's got it, unfortunately.
Right.
The important part about it is they're on your site, right? That's what we want. We want to take that client, we want to put them in your sphere, so 12 months down the road when they're looking and dreaming and hoping and going and looking around, going to open houses, and finally they see something and they hit a button, instead of that button going to an agent that's paying to get the lead, it goes to you, even if they don't truly know who you are or remember and you don't know who they are. That's what I want you guys to understand about the system is it's your ability to control the lead game, convert more leads. The leads aren't bad. Not all of them. Some of them are bad. But the leads aren't as bad as we think they are. It's our process for handling them that makes them bad, right? The way consumers are shopping doesn't fit the way we sell sometimes. And so this really tries to address that issue. I know that I have multiple agents who were newer in the business and have utilized this to really grow their business by digging into this as their platform. So it'll be varying, for different people. So, okay, mobile app. I think probably we covered most of the highlights of the mobile app. You'll have a link to text. I'll help you with that when we get into a training and so on and so forth. So the agent portion of the mobile app, you'll be able to do the same things you do from your CRM. You'll be able to contact clients, drip emails, reply, all that stuff. So let me jump back now to the website just to make sure we're fully good on what happens on the website portion. Everyone will have a website. On that website, the thing that I'll say about it is it has a lot of features. It's a little more basic in its design, but I understand Zap 2.0 is coming out this year and supposed to be a broader platform. But for now, we've got search, we've got all of our information, we've got listings, areas served. The houses that we sell automatically post there without us having to do anything. Reviews are taken through that site.
No, when this site comes up, that'll be retroactive, right? Like everything we've sold to date, not just stuff we sell going forward, correct?
I definitely don't know the answer to that one. It depends on how, that's an ERA back office thing. That's done through the corporate office. So I'm sure it could be. I'm just really not sure.
Can we download our reviews into there, or do we have to?
So there's two methods. I'm glad you asked that. It's you can do one of two things. You can copy and paste reviews in there from other sites or other places, but if you do that, it's an either or. No, yes, no. What is it? Either or. What am I trying to say? And or. It's like you can't do one, can't do both. So you can't take live reviews with star ratings and also copy and paste, because one rules out the other. If you're brand new and you don't have any reviews on here yet and you want to copy and paste some from Zillow or Realtor.com or something, great, just to get you going. You won't have a star rating though, because the star rating, the 5-star rating system, they've spent millions of dollars to brand the 5-star system. We want to take advantage of that, right? Everyone wants to be a 5-star agent. So all of these are done real time. You send a link out to it's just a couple questions they can answer on their phone. They give you a star rating and boom, it's done. And it's that's not controllable. I mean, when you send those things out, what happens. You can't change them. I mean, that's the world of reviews, right? So we want to. So yes, you can do one or the other. You can copy and paste, or you can turn on the live system and get the star ratings, which is what you want. Because everyone wants, you want, people recognize this when they come, oh, well, she's a 5-star agent. Great. No one wants to be a 2-star agent. And I'll give you tips and tricks when we get into the training on how to do a slow roll into that and make sure the first couple of ratings you get are the ones you want. Don't send it to someone you showed a house to one time as your first rating. You want go to the people that love you already. But so you've got ratings on here, all the standard stuff, credentials, memberships, community involvement. This is something very interesting about this system. it allows you to do a couple of very social type things that Google really likes. So first one is when you go through and tour a property that's in the MLS. Doesn't have to be yours. You could be showing houses to a client. Could be a Green Ridge listing, right? Doesn't have to be yours, as long as it's in the MLS. You can go then back through and review the house on your site. So, for example, 87, this is an old one, but 8700 Abbey Road, this is a beautiful property, blah, 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 and she gets to pick some things about it. So she's doing a review of a listed property, which is unique, but the reason they do that is because Google really likes that. The second reason they do it is because, for example, let's say let's say in your neighborhood, what if you went out and toured all the houses that come up for sale in your neighborhood as a preview? Obviously, you wouldn't make people leave or anything. You just tell the agent, say, I'm coming through, or you show them on the ERA website, that client that's not your client yet, that's just searching. They're just out searching, and they click and see homes for sale in that neighborhood. They're going to see your reviews under all those listings. So if they see your name under every property in the neighborhood, who might they think is an expert on that neighborhood? Probably you. And if they do that and they click through, they go to your site. So it's a prospecting tool. Also helps with your Google rankings. This also helps with your Google rankings. Local insights. So you can put a little review or blurb about all the communities around Grand Rapids and all the wonderful things where people that might be moving to the area or looking would need to know. And Google really loves these, right? Because if someone's searching moving to Grand Rapids, this might come up in Google search, and then they would come through to your site. So they do a lot of things to fish for prospects through Google search. Cool?
With so many of us in maybe the same area, wouldn't we be crossing each other's path?
Well, it's...
Everyone's writing reviews.
Yeah, that would be great if that happened, because it would really, those reviews would show up a lot. Yeah, that would be a wonderful thing. Just make it your own.
It's kind of like a blog.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's very, very, very similar. There is a blog feature to this website. If any of you are bloggers, there's a full blog platform built into this that you may use as well. It's already in there. All you have to do is hit go on it. So that's.
We'd love to see that as a problem, but it's not. Not enough. There's not enough people that take advantage of that review.
Yeah.
Even in Jackson, which is a way smaller market, it doesn't happen, and it very easily could because there's not as many neighborhoods. So it would be a great problem to have that if everyone was competing against each other with those reviews.
Yeah.
But if more or less,
I'd kill for
typically a
that.
handful of people kind
Not
of take
really.
it and run with it.
Strike that from the record. Did not say that.
What do you do for
Right, but that's what I'm
team
saying.
websites?
There's not enough
Or do
people
you
that
have
actually
it,
take
is
the
it all
time to go into
individualized?
It's individualized. I've seen them set it's mostly individualized. I don't think they've really addressed that level of it yet. I'm sure that'll be in 2.0 because teams are on the rise. So, questions so far. I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes really going through the CRM portion of it. Mhm. The
Right there.
yeah.
Scroll down. So, what does it say? There's my listings and then. So can you add different things that you wanna talk about in there as far as,
Yeah, there you can do custom pages. You can add custom pages that you want to add. You can add link outs, tabs. There's some customization to the platform as well. If there are things buyer resources, seller resources, link outs to a lender that you really like or work with, you can do all that stuff as well. This is a little bit more of a basic site, but this particular agent really heavily uses the mobile app. So, all right. So this, unless there's any other questions, I'll push on into the CRM.
I got one.
Yep.
I already own RoxanneO'Neill.com.
Uh-huh.
Are you gonna, and that's what's going on my signs, is that where my website you're creating is gonna be?
So whoever your domain registrar is, like GoDaddy or whatever, you'd go into GoDaddy and forward that domain to this URL.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot one of the coolest things about the system. That's my bad. I'm jumping back to the website for a second. So the website, because it has saved searches on it, it has deep links, direct deep links. If you don't know what that is, it's like a dedicated URL. So this is actually really cool. Glad I remembered this. So if I wanted to prospect for people, buyers looking in a certain school district, shout out a school district. Everybody likes it. Forest Hills. Okay, so if I can go out on my site and run a search for all homes for sale in Forest Hills School District, then I can save that, copy that URL and save it, and then I can put that out on social and say, looking for homes in Forest Hills School District, click on my link. It's 24/7 live, and that saved search URL will stay. So you can kind of use that for prospecting out there to try to find buyers that are looking in certain areas, certain price ranges. I mean, you could do anything you want. Say,
Then you click on that and then it'd send you
it'd send them to your site to those search results. So for if you're an investor, you say, hey, investment properties up to 50,000. Here they are. So there's lots of ways you can use the deep links in order to prospect on social media, which I definitely like that part of it. Okay.
Sorry, quick question.
Yep.
Do you guys use this as sort of a replacement for, like on Flex? They have the portal and the search criteria there. Do you guys replace that?
Yes.
Using this? Okay.
Yep, I tell all my agents, I mean, unless it's such a specific search that you just can't replicate it here and only the MLS layers of data, yeah, you want to save the search in here, because then when they want more information, then they're on your site already.
Are you able to manage all your searches in one spot then for all your people?
Yeah, I'll show you how that works. The system actually tries to help with that a little bit. So you had a question.
We had two questions from
Okay.
online. Back to the sharing the link, they're asking, is there a specific link you need to share with iOS users and a specific with Android? Or can you just share and then it'll, depending on their phone, when they download the app, it'll just correlate?
I believe it's universal.
Okay. And then there was a second question, how can they promote that better than Zillow? I'm guessing they're meaning the app.
Promote that. I'm not sure what that
Why
refers
is our
to.
app better than Zillow?
Yeah.
What's better for you?
Yeah.
Because it could take some back to you and not to an agent that pays to get your leads off of your listings. I mean, that's the only answer. It also, marks pending properties and doesn't show properties that are already sold, which Zillow is famous for. Half the stuff on there is not available. So
It's a more accurate.
Yeah.
It's a more accurate search than what
Mhm.
you get from Zillow.
it weeds out some of that data, because it's directly from MLS. It's realtor data. So
My
Yep.
question was, I can see where people's confusion is, but a deep link does not have direct correlation to your app. So my question is, how do I then convert that into my app? Because I would,
from the website is what I'm saying. You
Right.
can do searches and then promote those links to drive people back to your website.
right, but then the website is not directly my app.
Right.
Giving to that person.
Correct.
So then if I have that person's information, I then should, at least, it sounds like, I should then send them my app immediately. from
Very
that
first
point.
touch.
Okay.
Yep, I see you're out looking. Awesome. Just want to let you know, and I'll get into the first. They'll get a welcome email if they sign in from your site, and I encourage everybody that does it. And this is really more of a training thing, but just so you know it's out there, I encourage everyone to make that say something very casual. Hi, I know you may just be starting your home search. You're not ready to talk to a live person just yet. I'm great with that. Search away. I'll be over here in the background. If you have a question, just click a button.
Right.
You know, so you don't scare people off. But yes, generally, once you get people coming to the site, you'll get a lead. And then I would send them the link right away and say, let me save you some time. Instead of searching and doing all these things, my app is GPS based. No matter where you are, it's going to tell you what's for sale around you. You can save searches, et cetera, et cetera. Here you go. And try to convert people off of the website to the app because it's really just much more effective.
Sure.
So, great question. So to the CRM, which is really the heart of it all. I mean, the CRM is the big part. How many of you today are using a CRM? You have people in a database and you're communicating with them. Traditionally, okay, so about 15% of people. And that's pretty standard. Most people aren't. It's why Zap is great. It is necessary. So this is the dashboard. When you log into Zap, this is what you're going to see. It's a summary of everything going on in your business relating to your app or website, right? So there's a lot of tabs, and this is a much longer training, but it says, oh, she's got 3 requests. Okay, this is Linda. She's in our Manchester office. 3 requests. She's got a showing request here, request for info, and another request for info that came in. Now, I'm going to call out Linda just a little bit. Hope she's not on the broadcast. The request doesn't mean she hasn't responded. It means she hasn't gone into the system and told the system what she did about the lead. Linda's really sharp, and I know she's already talked to these people. So it tells you if you have a new request. Now, with Lead Router, that's a part of the ERA platform, when that lead comes through, it'll call your phone and text you within 10, 15 seconds. You'll know you got a lead without going in here. You're going to get a pop-up that says, hey, new lead, click to accept. You know, you get a text message, you hit Y to accept and all that stuff. And some of that's internal on the way that's structured. But so 3 requests. She's got 2 new leads. She's got 19 updates due. So updates is interesting. So the system tells you when you have updates due. So when Tom and Janine go in and look at Lead Router and set up the business rules and things, there's certain amounts of time you have to respond to a client. In our case, once you get a new lead, you have to respond within 8 hours. You have to do your first update, and then 3 days, and then I believe 7 days, and then every 30 days going forward till the end of time, as long as you have them in an active status. System wants to know you're doing something. This is to keep us on our game, right? So that we're not... If a lead comes through and we reach out and they're not ready to buy today, or they don't even respond because they're not ready to buy today, what do? Well, I got more important things over here. I got people that are ready to buy. I don't care about that person. Right. So the system wants to make sure that we're paying attention, doing something, at the very least, staying in front of them, communicating. So that's what the updates mean. So tells her she needs to get in there and update a few longer term leads, right? Reminders, such an interesting part of this. The system will allow you to add reminders for any of your clients. That can be their birthdays, the anniversary of them buying their house, their kids' birthdays, their favorite, whatever it is, that will pop up every day and remind you, hey, call Rick, it's his birthday today. Or, hey, set it for 2 days before and say, Rick's birthday is this date, send him a card, send him a handwritten note, whatever you want. So there's reminders that deal with clients, and then there's reminders for you. You can layer in reminders here for yourself. And that's a really cool portion as well. I know this is a lot of information to take in at one session, but so you know how there's follow-up plans for clients, right? Every CRM has follow-up plans. Every one of them, right? When this client's in here, I can put them on a drip email campaign, and they'll just get emails from me till the end of time. And this system can do that. Not only the preset ones in there, but you can design your own. whatever you want them to say in your tone and whatever you like, and they'll go out at whatever intervals you want till email stops working. The other portion of this is that you can do your own follow-up plans for you. And this is, I think, a really neat aspect. One of the things I always try to address, and I'll probably do a training on this, so I'm not going to give away all the secrets, but if we need to reach out to those important clients, right, regularly in multiple ways. We can't just send our top 10 buyers or sellers emails, drip emails. That doesn't make them feel very important, does it? Right. So we want to call them, we want to schedule a lunch with them, whatever we want to do to keep those people advocating for us. So we can set follow-up plans in here, not to remind the client that you're there, but to remind you that the client is there. So we can set up that sends you a reminder, hey, remember to call and set up our quarterly lunch. Remember to send birthday card. Remember to call. So it keeps you on task to talk to your clients, which is something as an industry we're quite bad at. So I think that's a good thing. What else is in here? Okay, leads, requests. Yes.
What constitutes a new lead? You said there's action items that you would have to follow up with what you did with the new lead. Is a new lead someone that's using like the texting ERA off your sign?
Could be any lead that comes through Lead
Friend
Router.
or family member you shared the app with?
All of those things. It could be a Zillow lead. It could be a Realtor.com lead. When you get the Lead Router system, each person will have their own lead routing email that you can use wherever you want. So if you go on to your Zillow account and add it as the notification email, any leads from that will flow through Lead Router into your Zap platform. Realtor.com, Textier, any of those things will flow in there. So yes, it could be any of those things. As long as someone has either clicked a button to request information or signed up on your website or app by creating an account.
And you have to do the action items, or that's optional, or?
You don't have to do the action items. However, in most of the Lead Router setups, I know in our case, if you're out of compliance, meaning you have updates that are past due, you won't get any new non-qualified leads, meaning not off of your listings or whatever. So, but that's totally an individual business decision. I can't really overlay that that's going to be up to Tom and Janine to sit down and work through all those things, and ERA will help with some of that stuff. I can tell you how we do it.
I mean, as a realtor, obviously, I would follow up on that.
Right.
I don't know that I would physically go in there and update the system every time, even though I followed up personally.
For example,
Well, you're going to use the app for that.
Linda's website right here, she's got 19 updates due, so
Yeah.
she's not getting any of those new, like if a new lead, a company lead comes in and it's searching for an agent to send it to, it won't go to Linda because
Right.
she's not compliant. But if she has something where she's paid money, she's advertised, and it comes to Linda, it still goes to her.
Right. There's a direct to agent. Yeah, there's direct to agent leads,
But
and
the
then
company
there's
view,
non-qualified
they're
leads.
not
So right.
following up.
Right.
The company leads don't go to people that aren't updated.
So most people there's an agent version of the app that looks just like the CRM, and so most people just update through the app. And the updates are simple. If I wanted to update this, I can either say make a call, send an email, or I can just put already done. Basically force it through and say, yeah, I did something, system, get off my back.
Okay.
So it's, it makes it all right. Let me,
Hey, man.
yes.
How about our existing mailing list that
Mhm.
we have, email list,
Mhm.
200 or more?
Yep.
Does that migrate over?
Yes.
Can we migrate that?
Yes, so you can import contacts, absolutely, from Google or from any CSV file, or you can export them out of anywhere you can get them from. Zillow, the MLS, your current, anything, and you can import them in here. One of the things a lot of new agents that switch over from other companies end up doing that. They take those contacts and they bring them to me and we implement them, and one of the first things they do is send a bulk email to all of them with a link to their mobile app and say, hey, I have a brand new mobile app would you mind helping me kick the tires a little bit? Second time I've said kick the tires today. Probably need to retire that one. You know, get in. Would you help me test out the site? And even if you're not looking today, it's okay. Just kind of get in there and see what's going on in your neighborhood. That's super effective because if you ask for help, people will do it. And if you've got people in there looking, you'll be surprised at how many of them don't tell you they're looking, but they actually are. You know, they're looking around, they're dreaming, they're thinking, you know, it's pretty good. So let me show you an actual, this is the actual contacts dashboard, right? So the heart of Zap, what it was really built on is the Zap score, which is what you're going to see here, which says very high, very high, very high. So this is where the magic happens. So you might have 400, 600, 800, 1,000 leads in there, right? How do we determine who the heck we should be calling? Because not all leads are created equal. Some of them are 18 months away if they're ever going to do anything, and some of them might buy next week, and we won't know it. So when you get all those people that come in and sign up and they're searching, it has a 100-point algorithm or something like that. Don't quote me on the 100, but it's up there. Points of the algorithm that rank all of your leads by how close they are to transacting. And that's really what the entire Zap program was built on, was that formula. So it says, okay, I've got all these people in here. It's overwhelming. I can't call them all. Half of them won't talk to me back. Who should I concentrate on? So Zap ranks them based on how active they are in certain activities that they do, how often they log in, if they save a house, if they save a search. All of these things factor into coming up with a ranking. So if the system is working right, Josh Kuczynski is her #1 client, hottest client, right? And so this says it was a broker lead, which is great. If I look at this, this tells me why they got a very high rating. So Joshua requested a showing last week, logged into the website 6 times this week, viewed 10 home detail pages last week, and saved a home last week. Pretty active person then, right? If I look down at the next person, logged into the mobile app 3 times this week, viewed 5 home detail pages this week, logged into your mobile app 1 time last week, logged into your mobile app 2 times, 4 more weeks. So it kind of gives you a reason why they rank that high. This is pretty interesting because this is actually one of our agents. I wonder if she knows she's signed up under another agent. I think that, but they're thinking of selling their house, so this is pretty interesting data. So when you look through on an actual person, there's so much you can do in here. Down to 12 minutes. I better speed talk. So of course it gives you all their basic information here. Are they a new buyer, existing buyer? And that's, someone asked a question about, you asked a question about what happens when or what qualifies them as a new lead. You can get in here and change the status of these leads to like incubating, long-term, or hot, or to kind of help with, you know, not everybody's just a hot lead. You can bump some down the list. But so once you get through the regular old data here, one of the biggest parts in here is profile notes. One of the greatest things you can do in here is write down everything you know about your clients during a transaction. Everything you can get from talking to them while they're transacting. What's their favorite beer? Where do they go to, you know, what are their kids' names? What are the pets' names? You know, where do they have a vacation? All of that stuff, the best agents I have put it in here. Why do they do that?
Because it's a connection, personalized.
Yes, connection for future. So when I send a Christmas card next year, I don't just sign my name. Or I don't just say, you know, Merry Christmas, Matt. I can say, hey Tom, how's the kids? How's the dog? How's the, you know, is Billy still playing soccer? You know, whatever. I can give a much better touch because I'm not going to remember all of this 2-3 years from now. Another really great thing some of my agents are doing is note in there how they know the person. That's pretty powerful because they'll get a lead. They'll go on Facebook and see if they have any mutual friends, right? and then they'll say, oh, friends with so-and-so, that's also my client. Friends with, it helps to build those inroads when there's a lot of competition to get clients, right? Down below this, it shows you the ZAP score. So again, it breaks down why they get this score based on their activities.
Hey, Matt?
Yes.
Steve has a question.
I have, on my CRM, I have well over 900 people in there. And to qualify to get in there, I actually are working with them. And I've got going back to 2000, which one of those bought a house, which one sold a house, and going back history on all that. How do I take all that information? It breaks down how I met with them, whether it's an open house or whatever. How can I convert all that information over to here without spending a half lifetime?
It's all going to come down to data fields. I mean, there is a template in here that will tell you which data fields can map in. And so when you export that, your database to a CSV file, you may have to reorganize or cut out some stuff that's not going to map over to fields in ZAP.
So there's no custom fields in ZAP, is what you're saying?
Man, that's the first time I've been stumped on ZAP in a while. No, I don't think so. I mean, there are things you can add in, but I don't know if all of them are mappable on import, is what I'm saying.
It seems to me that, like, going to Steve's question, you should be able to have some custom fields maybe that aren't there, but they're important information for whatever reason.
That's something I'm going to have to probably punt a little bit to get you a better answer. I mean, I've imported plenty of databases, but haven't run into that specific question. So we'll table that. Just
like right now is February already, but in 2000, I start out, everybody I sold a house, everybody that bought a house, and I factor that in there.
Sure.
That'd be pretty tough to convert that all over.
There's people better at it than me, so I think we could find you some help to
Find someone,
Yeah, I mean, starting with the spreadsheet will help because it will tell you what data fields you can match. When you do the import, you can match the data fields, which is what I've had to do. I'm at agents come from Howard Hanna and all different companies that have different data fields out of their CRM. I'm not going to say it'll be 100%. You might have to modify some things. I just don't know the answer to that without looking at what you've got in there. So the next part down, the data it tells you is, where is this person looking? Because they may not have talked to you. You may not know anything about them. But this will tell you that they're looking 50% of their time in Ann Arbor, 25% Linden, 25% Grass Lake. It'll tell you the average sale price of the homes they're looking for, $236,000, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,300 square feet. Average home that shows up in their search results. So it gives us a little data on this person, right? They've saved 3 houses. They hit the heart button, basically like they liked 3 houses. I want to know what they are. I hit view. Up they come. These are the 3 houses that they hearted, which we all love to do. And so you're right. Now, what if they favorited one of these houses and it was either my listing or I've shown it? Does that give me a better approach to reaching out to them?
Man, how do we do that without freaking them out? Like we're looking, watching.
Everybody knows we're watching.
Yeah. I think the cat's out of the bag on that. I mean, here's a good test for you. Anyone have an Amazon Alexa?
Yes.
Okay. Mention some topic, and I guarantee you on your social media feed, you're going to see an ad for that exact thing the same day.
You're exactly right.
I've tested it 100 times. So, I mean, I think the message is to say, hey, I saw you express some interest in Kelly Road in Brooklyn. Just showed that house this weekend. What a great place. Cooler on the inside than it looks even from the pictures. You want to take a peek, let me know. I mean, it's just a deeper connection than just saying, hey, are you ready to buy yet? Here's, 12 tips you should know before you get pre-approved. That's good info, but it's not as effective as narrowing in on what they're doing, right? So also they've saved a search, so we can see what search they've saved. We can see that they've recently viewed 29 houses. So viewed 4 days ago, 4 days ago, 4 days ago, 4 days ago. I can tell exactly which homes and in which areas they have looked. These are all houses they've viewed specifically to the home detail page.
So you're looking at someone under contacts.
Yes.
So this is someone you've given your app to?
This is a client that's using
Yeah, so you're
Linda's
not
mobile
freaking
app.
out, they're already a client.
They're already,
This
Yeah.
is someone that's already using Linda's mobile app. Yes.
Linda sent it.
Whether Linda sent it to them or they came through the system as a non-qualified lead and ended up with Linda's app, can happen both ways.
So when they come through, are they in a lead category and then you convert them to a contact? Is that a different stage in the CRM?
You can change different statuses depending on if they're like an existing contact, repeat client, all that type of a thing. What else?
Does it track lead conversion?
Hey Matt, so, you guys run into the situation where the app is so good that they use it even though they're under an agency agreement with another realtor? I mean,
I'm-
cause then if I contact them and say, hey, I'll show you that house,
Mhm.
that's an ethical issue if they're under.
But it's not your problem.
No,
so
it-
tell us.
it's not,
Okay,
that's,
how could you?
that's not an ethical
Right.
issue
Like,
because you're not soliciting, they're looking on your site. I mean,
You
yeah,
can't solicit someone else, but they can solicit you,
yeah,
even if they're under contract.
mhm,
They can lie to you too.
right.
They sure can.
I mean, that's not, I don't think in this day and age of big data, that's anything we can possibly shy away from.
No.
I mean, someone might have Zillow, Realtor.com, and, I mean, if they make an inquiry, they might hear from 5, 6 agents, you know? I mean, what we have to focus on is servicing the lead, servicing the client, giving them literally what they are looking for, which is data and education and whatever else, you know? Some of the other, you know, now the good thing about this system, and I will tell you, because, I mean, you have 90 agents or so, and if you're all using this, some of you know the same people, right? So the system will prioritize whose client that is. So if someone is already in your Zap database, and but they didn't sign up or anything, but they're a contact or whatever, and they go out and maybe they start searching in another area, or maybe they start that you don't service, or you know, they put in an inquiry that goes to someone else, it will then send them back to you. So I mean, they can't go to another agent's website. You'll show up as a secondary agent, and any communication will go back to the original agent that's dedicated in Lead Router as being that client. So there is some protections, you know, I mean, we have quite a few agents, and that, you know, that does happen. Some people know, like, okay, we're working together, but 3 years ago, you know, you're a personal friend, you know, and you downloaded that app, but we haven't been working together, I've been talking, you know, and that's where agents have to communicate with each other. But there are some protections built in there for that, for sure. Of course, there's the, you know, new listing alerts. It's going to send out everything that, just like Flex will. There is, of course, the drip campaigns, all that type of thing. It'll track their transactions in here. You know, and that means ones that they've actually closed on that go through the ERA dash back office system will tag in here. Interestingly enough, in the history portion, and I'm sorry because there's literally so much to get through. I'm already right at an hour. I can go in and I can connect my Outlook or Gmail, and all communication that I have with my client via email will be backlogged into this system, so that down the line, if I need something transactional from the last time we were doing a deal together, it'll keep the email history for this client in there.
Couple quick questions I keep seeing the DocuSign.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting rid of the loop.
No.
Are you going back to that?
No, gosh, no. They're a preferred partner or whatever. No, we use Dotloop, 100%. And so you can, there's things you can do, like you can create a loop right out of this system. There are things that you can do. If you have a client in here that's ready to buy, you can create a loop and it'll take some of their data into the loop. There's many deep things I would get into in a training to tell you more about it. But so for, very high, so not quite as much, moderate, some activity, but a little older. It kind of ranks people down. So low, these people might get a drip campaign. None means they haven't actually signed up. Maybe they came in as lead, but they haven't actually logged in, so we can't track what they're doing.
When does it go to a number system, Matt?
When you have 100 active leads in there, and active meaning not cold, not old, then it will actually switch from very high to an actual number scale of 1 to 100. But that's based on, so some of you have a larger lead database, not for contacts, but for leads that come through that are trackable, that are on the website doing activities. The system will never ask you for an update on someone you add. Only leads that come through the system. So if you put in your database, don't be scared of that. The system's not going to ask you to do updates on 500 people that you added. It's only things that flow through the system to you as a lead. One other big thing. Some of you have large databases, right? And some of you have, how do I sort through all of this? So, of course, there's filters, which just about any CRM is going to have. I can sort by the status. I can sort by the client type, buyer or seller, renter, investor, whatever I put my client type under when I set them up. But more interestingly, there's some really great features in here. Now I can search for people who have saved a home in the last 7 days, right? Hey, look at that guy.
That would be you, the hot buyer.
Hot buyer. I did that last night so I could show this off. So I can search through my database and say, okay, well, if I'm looking for people to talk to, I only want to see people who have saved a home in the last 14 days. I can pull that up. That's pretty neat. I can also pull up people in a minimum or maximum search range. I can pull up just people who have auto email alerts on. But I can also do tags. So tags are pretty interesting. I'm going to probably switch into it. I'm going to exit the proxy here so I can show you my dashboard, but since I'm not licensed, these are all fake people. They have some wacky names, so for training purposes, but you'll see that
Almighty.
Evan Almighty, I've tagged him as Hazel Schools, Cash, Lake Columbia, buyer, Portage Schools, investor, Cardis, Kellogg employee. So this is pretty important, especially if you've got a larger lead database. Now, if I just want to go through and pull out my investors, I can just sort by custom tag investor. Just my investors will pull up, right? If I want to sort just by cash or by cash investors, I can pull those up. If I want to sort by just people who have been looking in a certain school district, right? Let's say we want to look in Gull Lake schools. There's my Gull Lake people. So if I was going to list a property in Gull Lake schools, I might pop it in here and send it out to all the people I know who are searching in Gull Lake, prospecting through our database, right? So that's tags. You can create your own. They can say literally whatever you want. Although there's some set ones in there. You can send mass emails. So if I want to send all 16 of these investors an email, I can go through and do bulk actions, and I can do all of these things. But if I want to do a bulk email, there we go. I can pop it in there. It's got my picture and all my stuff in there, and I can do whatever I want. Insert a picture, etc.
And people can have, contacts can have multiple tags, right?
Yes, yep. Like this one has all of these for one, which doesn't make sense because multiple school districts and things like that. But, yeah. Again, like this is normally at least a 2-hour training. You can get in and much like the Flex portal that you were referencing, you can get in once a client, you can go in and save a search for a client. So if you have someone that calls up and says, hey, we're looking, you know, in this school district or this town, this price range, these bedrooms, you can go in as the agent, set it up like you would in Flex. And, you know, so they'll get the results every day, but you can go in and actually recommend a house. So to keep that kind of consultative feel, instead of just, well, you're going to get stuff from my website, it's my website, you can go in and mine through those and recommend basically something that comes up on new search and say, hey, I think this one looks great. If you want to see it, let me know. And they'll get a message from you saying that happened.
That's somebody that's come through your app then, correct?
Yeah, or any other lead source to where they've ended up in here.
Okay.
So
would this take the place of Flex eventually?
You would
I
always
mean,
want it to be. I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't want it.
as an agent, yes. You want to
Flex isn't gonna go
Just
away,
use it.
No,
because you're
of
not
course
gonna
it's
use
not.
it for searching.
I mean, and if I were to go in here on the website, right, there is a lot of filters in here that you can search by. You can search by all these things. Like as a client, if I'm on your website, you know, does it have this? Does it have that? Does it have this? Is it harbor front, cul-de-sac, whatever? I can search by neighborhood, zip subdivision, school district, blah 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 blah, all those things. Right? But I forgot where I was going with that. What was it?
Also wondered about the quick links on the left. Is that where you would maybe tie into Dotloop? What's on the links on the last menu right there?
In here?
Quick links
To the
on
left.
the left.
Right there, yeah, keep
Oh,
going down.
there's so many things to tie into. Anyone in the room a Zillow Premier agent? Like you pay Zillow? You can tie into this system. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, there's all kinds of tie-ins and add-ons and things like that we can get into kind of a little bit later.
She was referring to the
So
quick
could you,
links
Could
specifically.
you
Oh,
go
there.
into
sorry.
Dotloop
That's
from
okay.
that?
Yes.
Yes.
Dotloop, Cloud CMA, Account Tag,
Similar to Flex.
Gmail, et cetera, et cetera. So it will never fully replace Flex because although there are many, many search fields in here, I think Flex is more for you and this is more for your client, of course. I mean, you still want to look in Flex because the level of detail in there, you know, you can look for a commercial property at this, you know, cap rate or, you know, whatever you want to look for. You're probably not going to get to that level in here because this is a consumer-facing site. You know, they don't understand a lot of that stuff. So yes, there isn't a reason why you wouldn't use this for clients to search because all roads lead back to you.
For your searches, yeah.
But for your searches, of course, you're still going to use Flex, and you might still have a client that's very particular on some very detailed things that maybe those search criteria don't exist in this system because they're specific to Flex, whereas this has to accommodate 800 MLSs with all different data fields. So.
Another question, they wanna know if it tracks texting, like it keeps track of clients' emails, does it also keep track the text you exchange with them?
No.
No?
The website right now today doesn't include texting from the website dashboard, no.
Does it allow in the app to text clients?
I'll show you the app actually.
Okay.
Well, try to hold it up, but you can communicate a little bit differently, you know, through the app with clients, yes. But from this dashboard, it does not tie in with text messaging currently. I don't know what Zap 2.0 is going to have in it. I'll probably find out within a month or so what that looks like, but I have to think they're going to bring in some pretty good things. It's already a good system, so. What else was I going to touch on? Email plugin, track activities. I think that's the main points of watched home updates. Now this is an interesting one because to your point, the data is still built on the people that run the valuations, and that's going to be Zillow. But let's just say, because everyone knows how to prospect for buyers, and all CRMs are set up to prospect for buyers, right? That's the easiest thing to do. What about prospecting for sellers? that's a little harder to do. So one of the things that the system does is you can go to a property that's not for sale. Something that, like, you can look, let's say you have a neighbor or a friend that's not gonna buy right now, they're not looking to do anything like that. Maybe they bought last year. You can put them on a watched home alert for their own house. And what it's gonna tell them, it's gonna send them like a weekly or bi-weekly email that tells them what's going on in the neighborhood. What got listed, what got sold, and how their how home value is affected. It's a pretty good tool for keeping people thinking about it. You know, those, well, we might sell in the next year or two if the conditions are right. And that's a way to keep kind of a pool of potential sellers by signing them up for this, and they get the emails from you, from the system weekly. It kind of tells them what's going on in the neighborhood. Just, I don't even specifically, I just say, hey, you know what? You want to know what's going on in the neighborhood, right? I'm going to sign you up for this. You'll get emails telling you kind of what's listed, what's for sale. And here's why it's good, is because you may not be thinking of selling today. But if your friend 3 houses down sells, or maybe not your friend, but just your neighbor 3 houses down, and you look on that and see what they sold for, you might be a little more motivated to ask some questions about, well, if they sold for that, my house is way nicer. You know, we updated the kitchen in '87, rose gold. We've got mauve and seafoam green in there. You know, but you know how that works, right? So it does get people to ask questions when that comes through. It's, oh wow, I didn't realize. One of the things I run into most, I'll cut off here in just a second, is that the good news about the real estate market, it has a very hard time filtering out. You know, I talk to people say, oh, the market, you know, is it okay in real estate? Foreclosure's still high? I'm like, what? Where have you been for the last decade, right? It's been like a train, you know, rolling downhill. But this is one of those things that really opens some eyes when they see what their neighbors are selling for. So there's a lot of features, way too many to talk about in an hour. But my plan is to come back once the system comes live and do more of a boot camp, which would involve, you know, helping you set up your website, you know, doing some of those things to understand how to actually enroll people and get people on the system and send links and all that type of thing. So that would be a longer class, probably 2 to 3 hours, you know, to get. And I'll do a couple.
And you mean class says for the number
Class
of people you're gonna
says,
have.
yes. Class says,
That
yeah.
need help. It's an ongoing process.
Sure it is.
This is not, you know,
I
not
mean,
only.
Not all of us have gauges skills, so.
Well,
Hey, we have 6 offices, and I mean, I'm constantly, you know, sometimes it took better part of a year of doing boot camps regularly to get, you know, I get 10, 12 people, then I get 10, 12 people, and I get 5 new people and 5 people that already came, you know, and eventually we get a lot of people up and moving and going and have some breakthroughs where people are like, wow, this is actually really amazing, you know, so we'll get there.
And part of that being said, I mean, that's one of the reasons that Tom and Janine decided when they got into this to partner with me, because I have some of these resources that can help you guys hit the ground running. And so not only is Matt available during this time, corporate is gonna, once everything's up, running, everything's filtered in, it's probably, what did they say, about 4 weeks down the road, that they will actually send transition teams in to even work with you more one-on-one. The other thing that Tom and Janine don't even know this yet, but I also contracted with, he is our former VP of Growth and Engagement for ERA Franchise Systems. He is no longer with ERA, but he's gonna start coming here starting probably next week. He's gonna come here for a couple days at a time, every couple weeks, to also start working with us to help get everyone up and running, to get you, and again, he's the one that created a lot of these programs. And so he's gonna be coming back here for the next, right now we have it set up for the next 6 months, that he's gonna be coming here.
That was exactly the question I was gonna ask, what Rick just brought up, is can you see the value in why we considered him as a partner? Because they're offering a lot of the benefits of a bigger company, where they have more staff, along with the benefits of our company being a company that is more homegrown and smaller, so.
What is our projected date of launching this?
Probably, probably the 16th. And that we are waiting on, there's a lot of things that have to happen. So get your, if we don't have a good picture for you, we need headshots. We need, so there's some things like that we need, that we're working on and that we're gonna ask you to do. Get your sign orders in, that type of thing.
The big thing we're waiting on right now is to make sure the transition team the three of us are working with, I think he said on Friday, 99% that everything would be up and running next Thursday. Because we don't wanna bring you guys back in to kind of really sit down and go through some of the different products and services unless you can log in and see it. Because right now, it's great to hear all this, but until you can get in and do it. So that's the hope, that starting next Thursday, not only can we start doing this, but you can bring your laptops in or whatever and actually sit down and play with the stuff, go into the training modules, look at all the different things, look at some of the different systems and start working through that. So that's the plan, and it'll get announced to you guys soon.
You've seen enough of some things. You've seen enough of the infinity wheel. You've seen that a few times now. So you've got a feel for that. So from here on in, it gets into deeper content and more engagement with you specifically. And here comes our star of high tech. Oh, Arthur.
I have one question.
Sure.
So, this morning we were learning about, on our signs, our listings, that, they could text.
Sure.
They'll text us. Is that gonna go in there?
Yes.
Okay, so, that's not part of the mobile app?
Well, you're gonna
Trying to
get, when
figure out
someone
how it-
texts in, you're gonna get a text message with their name that's on their cell phone bill and their wireless number.
Is it gonna go?
Because
in
yeah,
there?
yes, it can flow. It'll flow in through Lead Router, but the idea is, of course, to text them back. To show that you're contacting back in the same medium that they reached out to you. I'm big on that point. Someone emails you email them back. If someone calls you, you call them back. Someone texts you, you don't pick up the phone and call them. You're probably going to spook them and they're going to think you're a crazy stalker or something like that. We want to go back with people the way they got in touch with us. I love the text program, to be honest. I think it's great because a lot of times people don't respond to email, they don't respond to phone calls. But on a new lead, if you text them, they'll probably give you the courtesy of a response because it's somewhat anonymous. And they're still willing to do it. They don't really have to unveil, take away the curtain. They can talk to you and still be somewhat of an anonymous person.
And like someone asked about, do you freak them out with stuff like that? You're gonna have their name on most cases, so you probably don't want to text back and say, "Hey Tom, I see you were in front." That may freak them out because you are gonna have that information. But you're just gonna say, "Hey,
I see you on the home security camera. You're parked in the driveway." No, not like that. Just.
Those are the nuances that you'll
Sure.
learn to make sure you do it properly. We had a lot of agents that wanted to call people because calling will get, well, guess what? They're like, boom, take that person.
Right.
They didn't want to. They didn't want to.
Hey, brother's calling. Yeah.
Right.
So-
They didn't want that.
So when you get a text, or they text, your information gets sent, is that considered a company lead that needs updates, or no?
It's your lead.
It's your lead,
In-
right, cause it's from your side.
It's
So it's
in
not one
Lead
of those that
Router,
needs updates,
and I
you
can't.
get more of those.
I can't speak to your business rules in Lead Router because
It's up
I'm
to
not going
Tom
to be
and
deciding that.
Janine.
It's considered a direct to agent lead because it's off of your listing.
Alright,
So different rules apply. For us, in our company, we made a decision on non-qualified leads that come through the lead routing system. If you don't respond within 7 minutes, 6 minutes, it goes on to the next agent in line.
oh wow.
6 minutes,
I'm already
6 minutes, 6
45
minutes,
minutes, get
6
someplace.
minutes.
No, to
Drive
respond.
on.
Just to
That's why if it's your lead, you get it.
to accept
If
the
it's
lead.
your lead, you get it. These are just the
Oh, I
company
know.
leads. Okay, gotcha.
Because after, if you wait longer than that, people are gone. They've already heard from another agent by that point. So, but on a direct to agent lead, the timing is much different because that came off of your listing. generated from your listing. So we do treat that differently, and that's stuff that, you know, they'll have to figure out the back office rules on all that stuff.
I'm good.
Cool? All right, well, I'm gonna stay around for a minute, you know, if you have other questions or anything like that. Yes?
Ask a fast
Oh, sorry. Any more fast questions?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, ask a fast
She said you're staying in for a minute, so ask a quick
Let
one.
me give you my email in case you come up with something else.
Okay.
Matt will stay as long as you guys need him, so if you guys need anything.
I was interested to see that.
What's the email, Matt?